Amara, pack those clothes and go wash them inside the rain. Now!
Amara, hurry up so you can go and cook dinner.
Yes, Ma, I'm almost done.
Her name was Amara. She had been in labor for more than 20 hours. Her husband, Chinedu, stood outside the delivery room, pacing barefoot on the cold tiles, his white shirt soaked with sweat and tears. He had begged God in whispers, shouted in anger, and even knelt until his knees hurt. Please, he kept saying, take my life instead. Don't take her. But life doesn't bargain. By dawn, the cry of a baby girl filled the room. And at the same time, silence claimed the woman Chinedu loved more than his own breath. Amara died during childbirth. When the nurse came out holding the baby, her face said everything before her mouth opened. Chinedu collapsed. He didn't cry immediately. He just stared. As if his soul had stepped out of his body. That day, he lost the love of his life, and gained a daughter who would forever carry her name. When the burial was over and condolence visitors stopped coming, Chinedu did something many people didn't understand. He named the child Amara. His mother protested. Why will you open the wound every day? She asked. Why not let the dead rest? But Chinedu shook his head. She didn't die, he said quietly. She stayed. Every time the baby cried, he heard his wife. Every time she smiled, he saw Amara's eyes. Loving the child was the only thing keeping him alive. But he was a struggling man, working construction jobs that took him far from home. He knew he couldn't raise a newborn alone. So with a broken heart, he took the baby to his mother's house in Ibadan, promising to visit often. Take care of her, he said, his voice shaking. She's all I have. Amara grew up under her grandmother's care, poor, yes, but loved deeply. She didn't know her mother, but she knew stories. Stories of laughter, kindness, and a woman who loved with her whole heart. Her grandmother braided her hair every Sunday. She taught her prayers, respect, and how to endure quietly. But time is cruel. When Amara turned 16, her grandmother fell ill. At first, it was small cough, weakness, pain in the legs. Then one morning, she didn't wake up. Amara screamed so loudly the neighbors came running. That day, her world collapsed again. With no one left in Ibadan, Chinedu had no choice. He brought Amara to live with him and his new wife, Ngozi. Ngozi was beautiful on the outside and bitter within. She welcomed Amara with hugs when Chinedu was around. She called her my daughter in his presence. But the moment Chinedu left for work, the mask fell. Stand up. Wash this. Are you deaf? Amara became a servant in her father's house. She woke before dawn. She scrubbed floors until her fingers peeled. She washed clothes in the rain while Ngozi sat outside, legs crossed, laughing loudly on her phone. Yet whenever Ngozi received a call that her husband was coming home, everything changed. She would rush inside. Go and bathe. Do your hair. Sit in the parlor. Ngozi would cook sweet-smelling food and serve it herself. When Chinedu returned, tired and smiling, he saw what he wanted to believe. My wife loves my daughter, he would say happily. Amara would sit quietly, eyes heavy with unshed tears. She wanted to speak. But fear glued her mouth shut. When Chinedu got a well-paying job in another state, it felt like hope had finally returned. I'll come home every month, he promised. But Amara cried like her heart was breaking. Daddy, please don't go. He hugged her tightly. You'll miss me, eh? She shook her head violently, tears soaking his shirt. She wasn't crying because she would miss him. She was crying because she knew what was coming. Ngozi stood nearby, rubbing Amara's back gently, acting concerned. Don't worry, she said sweetly. I'll take good care of her. The moment Chinedu's bus disappeared, Ngozi slapped Amora so hard she fell. "Get up and start work," she shouted. Ngozi stopped Amora from going to school, even though Chinedu sent money regularly. Instead, Amora hawked snacks by the roadside after finishing chores under sun and rain. Still, Ngozi wasn't satisfied. She took Amora to work as a house help in a rich man's house. Every month, Ngozi collected the salary. The rich man's son was spoiled, drunk, and dangerous. One evening, when the house was empty, he raped her. Amora ran home bleeding, crying, broken. Ngozi's response: "You seduced him." The abuse continued until Amora became pregnant. Ngozi forced her to abort the baby in a local clinic. Amora almost died. When she recovered, she refused to return. Ngozi beat her and threw her out. She went back. And it happened again. The second pregnancy came. The clinic refused another abortion. So Ngozi took her to a quack. Blood flowed endlessly. The man panicked. She won't survive. That night, they dumped Amora on a lonely road and left her to die. A car slowed. A man stepped out. And everything changed. He rushed her to the hospital. Donated blood. Stayed. Waited. When she woke up, he fed her. Listened. Believed her. She had no home. So he took her to his mansion. Not as prey, but as protection. He healed her body. And her soul. He dressed her. He restored her dignity. He introduced her to his mother. And he fell in love. He proposed. She cried. But said yes. Yet she asked for one thing. "Take me home." They returned to her compound. Her father was there, drunk, broken, calling her name. She ran to him. Ngozi confessed everything. Police came. Arrests were made. Tears flowed. Healing began. Amora married the man who saved her. Her father moved with them. And for the first time in her life, she slept without fear. Some children cry not because they are weak, but because they are silenced. Amora's story teaches us that evil often hides behind smiles, and that the deeper suffering can happen inside a home that looks peaceful from the outside. Many children endure pain quietly out of fear, loyalty, or love, believing that speaking up would destroy the little family they have left. The story reminds parents that absence can be dangerous. Providing money is not the same as providing presence. A child needs protection, listening ears, and trust. If Chinedu had listened beyond what his eyes saw, Amora might not have suffered in silence for so long. It also shows that wickedness is a choice, not a mistake. The stepmother chose cruelty again and again, and every choice carried a consequence. No matter how long evil hides, truth always finds its way to the light. But above all, this story teaches hope. That even when a soul is broken, kindness from a stranger can rebuild what cruelty destroyed. That a life thrown away can still rise. That love, when it finally comes, can heal wounds that time could not. And finally, it tells us this. Never ignore the tears of a child. Never judge a victim by silence. And never think your pain has the final word. Because sometimes, the child the world tried to bury is the woman destiny was protecting all.